At the moment, we are moved in Germany by the pictures of streaming waters, of gigantic rivers of water that seem to sweep away everything that stands in their way. We see houses collapse, cars, enormous masses of earth, streets, everything torn away. 163 have already met their deaths. The number of those missing can at best only be estimated. And we are all upset and shaken by the pictures, the misery, the suffering, and all the devastation that is being wrought. And then I hear people say, hopefully something like this will never happen to us. How does it feel when you lose everything within a few days? And the hope that something like this will never happen to you. Well, when a tornado swept over the Czech Republic a few weeks ago, none of those affected had ever thought of being a witness and victim of such an event in the Czech Republic. And yet it happened that way. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know what life has in store. With the pictures of the houses collapsing, undermined by the water, I inevitably had to think of the words of Jesus as we read them in Matthew. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who builds his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. He built on sand. A well-known saying that we have here in Germany, which means that someone made not a wise decision. His decision was not a solid one. I remember my soil mechanics professor who, when he said that sand in itself is actually a good ground to build upon, also said that the Bible was wrong in devaluing sand as building ground. Well, this man, without wanting to offend him now, well knew the proverb, but he did not know the text of the Bible. Because if he knew the text of the Bible, then he would very likely agree with Jesus, because with running water, sand is in fact not a particularly good base. Everyone who has ever been to the sea knows this, as the water slowly washed away the sand from under his feet and he sank deeper and deeper. And a very similar thing happens to those houses in Germany, and also to that house in Jesus' parable. Now, it's not so much about teaching a lesson in building our house. Of course, you can also learn something from this, but in all honesty, few will perhaps have the privilege of building a house of their own, and perhaps even fewer, and certainly very few, will have the chance to base that house on the rock. Jesus is concerned here with the construction of our lives. Here too, a secure foundation should be laid. And what is that foundation? Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, so whoever keeps my word, that which I tell you, I will liken him to a wise man who builds his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. And it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. So, the sure foundation is to do what Jesus says. But what are the words of Jesus? Well, quite simply put, it's this book. It is like a manual to life. Some of it makes sense to us immediately. In other points, we do not immediately recognize the meaningfulness of what is written in it. But it is the same as in many other points in life as well. In the operating instructions for my chainsaw, for example, it says, "The fuel required for this chainsaw consists of a mixture of petrol and two-stroke engine oil in a ratio of 1 to 50. Now, the somewhat inexperienced person whose areas of interest are perhaps completely different from engines and their operation may ask, 1 to 50 two-stroke oil gasoline mixture? 50 gasoline, 1 two-stroke oil? So when I need so little of the two-stroke oil, then it doesn't seem to be that important, then I probably can leave it out. And then he just fills up with gasoline, and without a doubt, it will work for a while, and it may even work out longer than the more experienced user might predict. But at some point, this user will find that what initially seemed nonsensical to him yet somehow made sense, and that there was good reason to follow the instructions. Unfortunately, as is well known, such knowledge comes too often too late, namely when the damage has already been done. And then there is another user. He reads the same words, he is similarly inexperienced in the matter, but he takes what he reads there in simple faith and says to himself, "Good, this company made this product, she knows exactly what is good for this machine, in this case the chainsaw, how it runs well and how it has, so to speak, good life." And he sticks to it and won't have any problems, at least not the problems the first user had. It compares well with our life. Jesus designed us just as this company designed this chainsaw. He knows exactly how life works, he knows exactly what is good for us and how it is best in the short and long term. When I was 18, I made the decision to stand with both feet on this foundation. The influence of a classmate and her family gave me the opportunity to make this decision. I know life with Jesus, I know life without him. I lived like this for 18 years and nobody has to tell me anything. I know which life is better, and I can tell you one thing, I never want to go back. My decision to stand with both feet on that word, I have never regretted. What about your foundation? What do you stand on? What did you build upon? Sand or rock? Upon your own counsel or upon God's counsel? Upon things passing away or upon that which remains and lasts into eternity? Well, it may be that your foundation has supported you to this day, just like with those houses. For decades they were safe and secure. But then came the crisis, the raging waters, the moment when you lose everything. And then? As I said, 14 years ago, I made the decision to stand with both feet and a steady, immovable footing on this foundation. How about you? What foundation do you stand upon?